Hello, everybody who follows my channel, but mostly former students or students who are interested in participating in what I'm doing right now with interviews for my next term. I already have 20 plus interviews that I've been using over the past couple of years, but I'm interested in interviewing people who speak English from the different circles of English. You could be from the expanding circle, which means if you are a Brazilian person who has lived in Canada for a long time or who has lived in England or Australia and you speak fluent English and you have a hint of an accent from the place where you live, that would be fantastic. With Americans, I want to talk to American citizens who can tell me something about the American dream, who can tell me something about politics, about Biden and Trump and DeSantis and Nikki Haley and all of that and a little bit more. I'm teaching a course called International English. I hope I am. Um, but if not, then I can still use the content of the interviews for other classes as well. I drive a very strong program no matter which grade or which program the students come in. I have a lot of pre-university students. I have a lot of vocational students who are going to trade school. Everybody gets a strong academic program filled with culture from English speaking countries and from English as a lingua franca all over the world. It did not stop with the British Empire colonizing all those countries. It's still going on. There is an Americanization of the world. I lived in Australia in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I can tell you that I felt there was an Americanization of Australian TV. There are lots of topics that we can talk about English speaking countries. So if you're a former student, if you are, and I'm saying former students because I had students in Australia. I taught the undergraduate program when I was a master's student as a visiting professor. It would be nice to have somebody from that time as well. I know people all over the world, from living in the USA, from living in Australia, from living in New Zealand, and especially after the past few years, I have connected with people from all over the world, being in a pageant called Miss Wriggle World. I was a Brazilian representative for that pageant a couple of years ago, and I met people from all over the world. I interviewed Miss England, Miss New Zealand, Miss Zimbabwe, who went on to be Ms. Wriggle World Classic. And these people have really made the experience so rich. Having them as guest speakers in my class has really helped a lot. Um, I'm hoping to talk to some of them again, including Miss Wriggle World 2020, who I've become friends with. She's Canadian and she has granted interviews for my teaching program before as a guest speaker, and it was a very successful experience. But yes, I'll still be working on all of this during the summer. I teach because I love teaching. I've been living in Norway for 21 years and I worked at a hotel for a time, and I made good money doing that, parallel to teaching, parallel to substitute teaching. But teaching, that's my jam. All right, this has been close to 5 minutes. People don't have a lot of attention span, so I'm going to wrap this up